Okay, so we're going to do Excel in here. So for this, we first want to look at dragging numbers. So dragging numbers, and then dragging patterns, and then we'll look at dragging code, and then locking cells. Okay, if you want to increase the size, you can just double click here. That just gets it to the size of the largest one. Okay, so dragging numbers. First of all, I'm going to put 1 into that cell, just 1. If we want to copy the number, all the cells down, you look at that black cross, and then you click and hold, and you just drag down, and you make them all 1 there. So that's nice and dandy, and you can drag it across as well if you want, or yeah, and then so I'm going to pull it back up to here. So that's cool. So if you drag it down 1 number, then it would just change all of the numbers like that. So if you have a pattern, for example 2, and you drag, it will drag all of the numbers in that pattern. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it will do increments of 1 like that. So I'm going to get rid of that. Similarly enough, if you just have any sort of pattern, so let's say we have 1, 4, so we go up by 3, 7. Then you drag it, and then it will be in that pattern. So it'll go up by 3 each time. So if we have something like this as well, oh sorry, that was a bad example. I meant to just do the 2. Yeah, so it can drag down a pattern, usually relatively simple pattern, like simple increments and stuff like that, or you can just drag down the 1 number and then it'll just copy it through all of them. So that's dragging numbers. And dragging patterns as well. So now we want to do code. So I'm going to say, let's say this is our X and this is our Y or something like that. So I'm going to do 1, 2, and then use our dragging thing to drag down to that. And so now we want Y equals, and then we want Y equals, let's say 2X. So you just do 2 times, and then you click the cell there, so then it comes up A4 plus 5. So now we're doing Y equals 2X plus 5, basically. So you hit enter. Now, dragging code, it's quite simple. We drag down, and it's quite smart about it. It changes this for each one. So you see like how our code up here is going from A6, because it's when we look across, it's at A6. When we go down one, A7 changes, A8. What you will notice though is we've only dragged down, so that's all well and good. But if we drag across, it changes, because now it's just referencing a cell that's just next to it, just directly to the left of it. So this one is referencing that one, and so when we drag the code across to here, this cell is referencing this cell. So it's not the same. You can't just drag it across like that. So let me just clear this. Yeah, so you can't just drag it across like that. If we want to drag it across, what we could do is you can lock columns. So for example, I'm going to lock the A column. So to do that, you just put the $sign in front of it. So I'll show you what that means. If we lock the A column, and I'm going to drag this down here, it's the same thing, doesn't change anything there. But then if we get this and we drag it across, it's going to be the same because it's locked our A column, so it's not going to change to revert to our B column as it did before. So absolute referencing, I think it's called. It's absolute referenced the A column there. So what's also kind of cool that you can do is, we'll just clear this one out. You can say like 18 or something like up here, and you can specify a number like coefficient. So we have 18 here, and then now we're going to do a new column, so y times by coefficient. So we're just going to do that equals that times by this. Okay, so first of all, I'll see that. So that works perfectly, right? When we drag this down, it doesn't know what this is, since this is referencing this cell. Oh, do escape to get out of that if you make an error in that. So if you click on there and you want to get out, just click escape. But yeah, so we're not referencing any cell in here. But then as well, so we still keep going down. So that's like, that's not exactly what we want. If we try and do what we did before, we lock our E1, our E columns, so it's just going to go down. That's not going to do anything, since it's just going to keep going down there. But if we lock our 3 column instead, by doing the $ in front of the 3, you can see that when we drag it down, it works perfectly. So, sorry. So you can see that each cell is referencing that. The problem happens again if we try and drag this across, because when we look into this cell, it's still locked R3, but now we've dragged it across to the right, and so the referencing moves over to the right one. So to fix that, we can go into this cell. You can edit it up here or you can edit it down here, it doesn't really matter. If we lock our E as well, so we've locked both the E and the 3, so you can't move anything you drag and you reference the E and 3, it's always going to reference that E3 cell. So I'm going to hit enter, and then if I drag it across and down, well, across and then down, it will grab our Y value there, and then grab our E, or our Y coefficient, and then grab our 18 here. So that's what locking both cells means. And so we've gone through dragging code down. So we just have dragging. It can get easier as you go on. It's better just to keep practicing with things, just dragging code and seeing what happens. But I think it's quite intuitive and you can pick it up quite quickly.